Hey, what's going on, guys? SSK here today, and I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience at the biggest first offline Dragon Ball Sparking Zero tournament, and it was at East Coast Throwdown, one of the biggest fighting game major tournaments in the East Coast. They happened to have a tournament for it, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and it was quite the experience. I met a lot of players. I was able to play a lot and get a lot of information, and I definitely we went 0-2 this tournament for sure, but it was a big bracket. I mean, it was 42 entrants. Top 8 was pretty good. One of our Grand Blue players, Junior Junes, actually ended up winning the tournament, so that was pretty sick. Having said that, I would like to talk a little bit about what I learned from that tournament in terms of tips and tricks to help some of us out in our game, so that when we end up going to a tournament, we can be a bit prepared for it. Check it out. The first thing I'd like to talk about is how side steps are really effective. In my last video I made where I made a guide on offense, I talked a little bit of how you could use offense to pressure your opponent and mix-ups so that you can kind of have ways to sort of open up your opponent to land a hit and get a combo that you want. One of the mix-ups that I said that you could do is that you could hit your opponent and then teleport behind them so that you can go ahead and hit them from the back, right? And the reason why this works is because, like I said in the previous video before, you can only block in front of you or behind you. By teleporting your opponent behind you, if your opponent is not blocking in time, you can get a full combo on them. Now, here's the thing though. If you don't want to do the teleport option, you could just go ahead and just sidestep behind them. It's just that easy. This particular thing I suggest to do by delaying your rush attack into the sidestep. So instead of doing rush attack into sidestep quickly, which only gives you that, you would be delaying a little bit so that you can actually get behind them. Like I said, this is very effective for just being able to just get behind your opponent very easily. It's great that it works after you do a few rush attacks sometimes, because sometimes your opponent will continue to block thinking that you're going to keep rush attacking on them, but if you're just delaying it and then go behind them, you're there offering their back now. The next thing I'd like to go over is actually the unblockable ultimate attacks. This is very funny to me because I was watching the tournament while I was at the event, and I remember watching some players using a lot of unblockable ultimates to cheese their opponents in bracket. In particular, Goku Z End has a spirit bomb that is completely unblockable and is very fast. And the way how you can kind of cheese your opponent is simply by dashing behind them with R2 and X if you're on PlayStation. For Xbox, it's R2 and A, and then completely just straight up doing spirit bomb behind them. And keep in mind, this is a fast unblockable, and it just hits, right? And the funny thing about this is that there's actually a way to deal with it. I think there was some people saying that you could go ahead and vanish it, but it's a very, very, very difficult timing to vanish this. So a lot of people in bracket I saw was just doing this and then just hitting this, and it's just really that simple to just pull off. Now, Goku Z End isn't the only character who can do unblockable ultimates like this. I believe Beerus can do it. Full Power Jiren also has an unblockable ultimate. Broly Z has it. Teen Gohan Super Saiyan 2 has it with his father son Kamehameha. A couple of characters have unblockable supers that you can pull this off with, and honestly, it's a really cool way to just snag some easy damage if you want to just get behind your opponent and just straight to them and just do it. Your opponent likely will not expect it, so go ahead and just steal that win. The other thing I wanted to go over is being able to block when the opponent teleports behind you. Now, this is a very important thing to know because you'll a lot of times go up against opponents who will try to teleport behind you to hit your back. You can deal with this though, keep in mind, and that is through actually reacting to their teleport and blocking in time. The way how to practice this in training mode is by going to training settings, going to the opponent settings, and making sure that the opponent's strategy is on vanishing assaults. Now, I do want to keep in mind a very important thing, and is that you cannot guard against these teleports unless you change the accessibility options in the main menu. Here we have accessibility, we have your player 1 control settings, and what we want to do is turn this battle assist all the way to off. This will allow guard assist to be turned completely off. What ends up happening is that for some reason the guard assist, it only holds you guarding at a specific area, so if your opponent teleports behind you, you will not be able to block behind yourself in time. It's a very weird thing, but if you turn this guard assist off, simply put, it will allow you to block all of these teleports in time. Alright, so now that we're back in training mode, let's go ahead and demonstrate how this is done. Now all of that is very simple as it looks. So let me go ahead and talk you through it. Essentially, the moment they teleport, you just want to press guard. 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 And then it's essentially, that's the rhythm you need to have for when you see it. But when you're on defense, you really need to make sure that you're looking for the teleport so that when you see that they're teleported, you can just simply straight go to blocking in time and you will block right behind you and be very safe. Like I said, this is a very important skill to have. I was getting blown up a lot by it in tournaments, so if you're gonna be in any tournament for this game for whatsoever, or however you're gonna do it, this is definitely a skill you're gonna need to learn. The other thing I'd like to go over too is actually a demonstration of how you can deal with the dragon dashes that you see people do to you when they try to dash behind you. I'm gonna do this in an online match because you can only, unfortunately, really train in an online match, but I'll show you how it's done. That demonstration was pretty self-explanatory. You basically, anytime you see the opponent just doing the dragon dash to you, just sidestep to the left. This one is shown here is not the same sidestep, but when they're in close proximity to you, they're gonna be. This is what the sidestep is gonna look like. And then when you sidestep, you're gonna easily avoid that once you see it. Basically, pretty simple. And last but not least, I want to talk about this character right here, Yajirobi, and how messed up he is. Now, this character, you might think, well, it's Yajirobi. Why would he be a problem at all? Well, I will tell you. See how his health bar is completely empty right there? Well, guess what? This guy has senzu beans, and at 5 skills, he can eat one of them. Let me show you what happens. That man gained 3 bars. 3 bars. And this is crazy because essentially what happens is that, like, if you play pretty solid with Yajirobi and you're able to go ahead and play long enough to where you can get 5 skill bars, you can basically pretty much just stay alive the whole time, killing the opponent's team. And if you ever die, well, you have another character installed on your team. I think if you're trying to play this game super competitively, I would say having Yajirobi on your team is definitely a plus for sure. And maybe having like a fusion on your team to help with also with a lot of health bars to make your team a lot more tankier. But that's essentially all I have today, guys, and thank you for watching the video and stay tuned for more.